Nose Hair Lint Gland radio show, which is on Wednesdays after my show. And that show is at 10 p.m.
Best show ever. Yeah, it is.
Best show ever. If you like inanity. And that also features Bob Mark and Karen Carpenter. And Karen Carpenter's alter ego will now be coming to the stage in just a moment for our next presentation of the night. Is that correct? Am I correct on the schedule?
Right.
Everyone, yes? It is now, is there a formal name to this section? Yes. We're going to introduce, ladies and gentlemen, for your astronomical intelligence and report, we have the great Professor Dr. Rabbi Pete Goldie, DDS, PhD, MSD, PhD. Thank you, everyone. Pete Goldie, please welcome him to the stage.
Get scientific in a hurry.
Is this going to be on the quiz?
More science, please.
Where the hell is he?
I'm blinded.
I was promised a host tonight.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, sit there.
I didn't realize I was part of this portion of the show. I thought it was my time to drink.
Thank you.
Yes,
You can
and
still
yes.
do that, yeah.
Oh, before we get started, apparently I brought my own fez this evening, but I've been told this isn't the actual correct fez, and so
No.
I'm going to switch to the correct fez.
Best switch.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. The next trick, a bowl of assorted cheeses. Please, go on.
Who are you?
Less cheese, more science.
So, where's John Hal? Where's Chicken John? What the hell's, all right, let's get on to the lecture,
You're
okay?
having a flashback.
I don't want all of this stuff. Just wind the tape back. Let's start over again. I'd like to introduce the Space Science Report for today, the 14th of September, 2013. And the image here you're seeing is in space. In fact, it's a planet not on Earth. It's on Earth. I mean, we're on Earth now, and you're seeing a picture of a planet that's not on Earth. No, you're seeing a picture on Earth of a planet that isn't Earth.
What?
It looks like a snow cave.
You're right, it's snow. That is actually water snow that is accumulated on the North Pole of Mars. A planet, the fourth planet from Sol here in our solar system.
As far as we know.
Yes, no, it is. There's really not.
If you say
There's
so.
no, like mirror Earth on the other side of the sun. There's no mirror Mars on the other side of the sun.
As you say.
No, really, that's... I want to get down to basics here. This is right there. That green dot is the North Pole of Mars. It's kilometers thick of ice there. And, yeah, I'm going to... Okay, let's say a little something else about Mars. Something that recently was done. They did a neat trick there on Mars. We have two operating robots on the surface of Mars. One, the Mars Expedition Rover Curiosity, wandering around Meridian Planum. And we have another one, a brand new rover there. It's only been there 1 year, called Curiosity, which is very large, very powerful, and it's got great cameras on it. And it took some nice pictures out into space, not of Mars. And I'm going to show you a little, is this an animation, Sherilyn?
No, that's animation's number 3. We still have to do number 2.
You know why there are no cats on Mars?
Oh, tell me why.
Because Curiosity killed all the cats. Thank you. Thank you. I'll be here all night. No, I mean, I'm actually going to be here all night. Thank you.
Yeah, but you don't have to be. Yeah.
Do you know that there are 2 moons on Mars? Not on Mars, but orbiting Mars, okay?
On Earth?
Let's look at the next picture, Sherilyn.
Okay.
Because they cast shadows on Mars, just as our moon casts shadows on Earth. Here is an eclipse on the surface. Notice it doesn't do what our moon does when we have a total eclipse of the sun, and it covers a big chunk of Earth, and everyone gets and takes a big cruise there and hopes it isn't cloudy, and says it's a religious experience. Well, on Mars, the moons are much smaller and much closer to the planet, and they have eclipses all the time, everywhere. They're just happening. Not only that, I'm going to show you a very unique thing that's happening here. They took Curiosity rover, witnessed an eclipse, but it was more than an eclipse. It was a double eclipse, but while it was an eclipse, the two moons eclipsed each other during an eclipse. And now I'm going to show that. This happened in August 19th. Here's the two moons, and here you see that is the one moon, and it's being... And run it again. It happens very quickly if you're on Mars. There it goes. It's eclipsing the other moon. And look here from the Hascam on Curiosity, you will quickly see two frames get slightly dimmer.
Whoa.
And there you go. There's it. Yes, everyone. It happens. It's real.
Better resolution that way.
That's right. Yes, it's a great camera they have on the Mastcam on Curiosity rover. And the Hascam here is actually better than this, but we're going to get a new projector here with NASA money here in the dark room.
That's going to happen.
And the next image, I want to go all the way back to our moon. A new mission has just been launched this last week to our moon from Earth. And that was launched. And this mission, the next image, if we bring that up, is
Are we
going
going to determine if it's cheese for once and for
It's
all?
going to determine something about the moon. That's right.
Oh, great.
About the moon's upper atmosphere.
That's right. What was
very
that
exciting.
voice? Did you hear that? Did you hear
I'm
this?
sorry, it was me. But isn't it called the Lady?
It's called the Lady, L-A-D-E-E. And do you know what that stands for? Disembodied voice of Dr. Hal?
Hell no, that's what you're supposed to tell me.
Right. It's called the Lunar Atmosphere and Dust Environment Explorer, LADDI. Not lady. Oh, it's a laddie. No, it's laddie.
Lady, there's nothing like exploring dust, is there, for excitement?
I just
Whoa,
did
what was that?
An artist rendering here of a small car-sized spacecraft orbiting moon. It isn't there yet. It'll be there in a while, even though it's only 3 days trip if you're an Apollo capsule to get to the moon. If you're using what they use small rockets and interesting orbital dynamics, it's actually going to take about 2 weeks to get there, get into the right orbit, and then they'll test it out. Now, what is this spacecraft going to do? Well, when we sent astronauts to the moon, not all of them came back hallucinating.
What?
But some of them that did were saying, you know, we saw something that we don't think we should have seen, because our top scientists told us that when the sun pops up over the limb of the moon, when the sun comes up over the edge, because there's no atmosphere of the moon, it should be dark and then light, dark and then light. But just before it came up, it would glow a little bit. And they went, no, I can't. You guys are hallucinating. You go in that side of the room. And more of these hallucinating astronauts came back, and then there were some other reports, and they said, you know, maybe they're not all hallucinating this time. So let's spend a few $100 million and find out what's going on. And they built this thing. It's going to actually find out if there is some dust rising from the surface of the moon. Well, why would dust rise from the surface of the moon? Anyone want to answer that? Don't speak up.
Can I try?
Oh, yes, disembodied voice of hell. Go ahead.
Well, the moon is constantly pummeled by micrometeorites, and surely that ought to raise a little dust.
Yeah, that would raise a dust. Yeah, that would be quite a dust up. That might happen. Or what about just plain charged particles from the sun causing electrostatic repelling of charged dust?
That can't possibly be true.
That's repellent.
The sun's photosphere.
You must be hallucinating. Well, anyway, they sent this there. They're going to get in orbit in a couple of weeks. Then they're going to check it out for 100 days. And they're going to have a mission, and I'm sure we'll have a definitive answer. Now,
And then it crashes into the moon with inconceivable force.
Oh no.
yeah, later. I'm sure it will. But that's not why this reached the public's imagination this last week. It was an interesting launch. It has several firsts. First, the first one, they knew about two of the first they were going to have. Here's the first one. That it was using a Minotaur 5, used an intercontinental ballistic missile that should have sent nuclear bombs to smite our enemies. Instead, they used that for the first time to launch a lunar mission. A Minotaur 5 rocket. Number 2.
Plowshares!
It was launched from Wallops Island, Virginia, right near Askeag Island, where my brother lives.
That's where the horses are.
That's right, the famous Chincoteague ponies. That's right, there. And it was the first non-Earth orbiting mission launched from Virginia.
As opposed to
Wow, that's
Cape
amazing.
Canaveral.
That's right. And the third thing is they are going to use a high data rate laser to communicate back to Earth. to find out if that dust is in fact, yes, with lasers.
Is it like the laser pointer you're using right there?
It's going to be, it is this laser pointer. I forgot to put it
No,
on
it's
the
this laser pointer. It's this one.
Rogue ray laser pointer.
Yeah, so they'll figure that out. But why? These three important things, laser, Minotaur 5, launch from Virginia, is that why it got into the public's imagination last week?
It did not.
No. Does anyone know why? Next image will tell you why. Because when they launched it, they launched a frog.
It's
Here
not
it is.
easy being green.
Here's Laddie going up. Yes, you know. Well,
Oh no.
Not just any frog.
well, you know,
It's Kermit the Frog.
No, it's not.
it rains in Virginia. And sometimes puddles collect underneath rockets. They're about to go off. A frog might go in there, and then the frog has not been informed of the countdown, and look what happens.
Just so you know, they could not save the frog.
Yeah, now you may think, oh, this terrible tragedy, we must end NASA now because they are killing
Yes.
animals needlessly instead of just doing pure science as they promised. They should keep
Those
their promise.
Nazis.
Well, let's go ahead and check this out. Next image. Actually, we've been killing animals for quite a while. Here's a bat attached to this edge of the side of the space shuttle.
No.
Not a bat.
Yeah, a bat. They saw that bat before it launched, and they went, let's check our launch check rate. It's okay, bats are cool, go.
Was it a fruit bat?
This picture is taken actually probably about 20 miles up, and it's still hanging on there.
Bats are gold.
Tank, there's the bat, it's labeled bat with the arrow. You know,
Space.
it's amazing
There are
that they
no
actually
words in space.
had the word bat and arrow already on the tank before it went up, but there you go. So,
Nothing like being prepared.
oh, I'm sorry. I guess a bat doesn't really get your sympathy going. How about the next little movie there, Cheryl? Let's see that. We have something here. Oh, we're going to show a little film here. Oh, here's the space shuttle going. Oh, look at that. There's a vulture. Oh, it'll be okay. Oh.
That's terrible.
It wasn't okay.
Well, vultures are, they're predators, and so that's how.
Yeah.
But bats
That's
are
a
cute.
shame that living creatures are hurt by science. So let's see another living creature being hurt by
I think
science.
all the living
Here we
creatures in
go.
this room are being hurt by your science right now.
Here's a living creature. This is an Italian astronaut in the International Space Station. His name is Luco Parmitano.
He's nice.
And here he is
Is he
in
part
this
bat?
picture. You can't tell. It looks like
Roll the book in.
he's wearing a goldfish bowl over his head. And in fact, that goldfish bowl is right now filling up with water. Because his liquid cooling system that he wears like long johns when he's out in his spacesuit started leaking right behind his neck, and he felt some water behind his neck, and then he felt the back of his hair get wet, and then he felt the little iPad earplugs that he talks to Mission Control get wet, and then the water filled up the front of the face mask, and he was about to drown in space. And they said, oh, what do we do now? And they looked up, drowning astronaut, bring him in, unlike all the other things.
Science.
So they brought him in, and they actually got him in. He was actually so concerned. There's a little plug right there in the side of the helmet there. And he was thinking, well, I can just pull this plug and the water will squirt right out.
So what is brains, right?
Not as fast. It's not like The Simpsons, where Homer and Bart, go to the sun. No, it's not like that. It takes a while. Then
It'll
it's a
work.
little
Try
slow.
it.
But they actually thought he could pull it out and squirt the water out, but they got him in time.
Oh, man.
And they hurriedly recompressed the airlock and went in there and took off the fishbowl. And I don't think he's going to rush to get back into that long john suit and flying out there. However, he's alive! Yay! Right, we're not going to go to war with Italy. Yay! And you know what? He did something useful. Next picture, I want to show you what he did. He took this amazing photograph from the space station, looking down on Earth. And what you see here
Is a bomb hit?
no, actually it's not. This is not a meteor entering the atmosphere of Earth. This is an equipment transfer vehicle created by the Japanese that went to the space station, unloaded all the valuable equipment into the space station, which includes, like new laptop computers, porno magazines, food, water, fresh tomatoes, and then they loaded up with all the trash. And one of the things they loaded up with is a lot of human waste.
Poop.
Yeah. So here you see this beautiful shooting star. People were looking up in the sky and go, oh, it's beautiful, let's wish on it. It's poop. Burning up in the atmosphere. What can we say? And now normally, if you've been to other Ask Dr. Hal shows, and I'm now approaching, you know how many that I've been on? I'm the youngest member besides Sherilyn of the staff here, except you.
I'm very young.
Yeah, I've been on 200 Ask Dr. Hal shows.
Sure, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's stupid. Right.
It's
And they're still not listening.
what's incredible about it is that nobody cares.
I know, they're just like,
Aww.
yeah, but it's okay. Just keep stuffing those envelopes in
Keep
there.
bringing them envelopes up. Don't let Pete stop you.
Because I have had, since the very first time I've been up here, is I used to have floating right here in space between, there's actually space here too. Space between me and the audience. The a paper model of the Cassini orbiter. It's not here tonight, I'm sorry to say. And I usually throw some shots of the Cassini's mission to Saturn up to justify having a floating paper model tediously hooked up before the show. And for that reason, I'm now going to show you two quick pictures recently taken from the Cassini orbiter of the Saturnian system. The first one, Sherilyn, please. It might be an animation. It is, in fact, an animation. What we're seeing here is the F-ring. This thing is 82,000 kilometers away from the surface of Mars. It is so far from Mars.
How far is it?
Saturn. It is so far from Saturn.
How far is Saturn?
82,000 kilometers from the surface of Saturn. This faint little F-ring, which is constantly clumped and twisted and chased around by these two moons, Prometheus and Pandora, and they change the shape of it anyway. And just this gap alone, you can't even see Saturn. That's not Saturn, that's still rings. That's called the Keeler gap. But this long gap here is, oh please, that long gap there, that's 2,600 kilometers wide.
What's that in American inches?
USA.
Why don't you translate that for us into an English system, Pete?
This would be about the distance between here and Des Moines, Iowa. Okay?
Whoa.
How far is that?
But
Is that American enough for you?
is that a mileage distance or a cultural difference, Pete?
How's your head, Pete?
You're from New Jersey, aren't you?
And that matters why?
You know, this is how far it is from there to New Jersey, okay?
Okay.
Oh,
that's-
ye of little
Now you
faith.
feel included. Okay. Now the next image, I'm going to show a close-up photograph, which is going to be an image, not moving, of that F-ring, because they got a nice angle at it. And it actually shows a laddering pattern here that the darkroom's not going to show too well.
That's amazing.
Isn't it neat? Because those two moons are just twisting
You have an
around.
envelope?
That looks like pretty substantial ring, the F-ring of Saturn, but it's actually finer than cigarette smoke. I mean, not that I'm encouraging
Cigarette smoke's not fine.
smoking the F-ring.
But you have, and what does it taste like?
Anyone has, well, you know, I use a vaporizer, so it's okay.
He hasn't actually smoked the F-ring, he's just
Gave it up.
vaporizing the
Totally
F-ring.
gave it up.
on Collider.
In space, no one can smell
There's
new
some
smoke.
other news this week in space. There is.
Oh, there
Anyone
is?
want to remember that? How about disembodied voice of Dr. Hal? What else happened in space that's big? Next image, if you have a moment, Sherilyn, if you're not too busy talking to K-Rob.
Maybe I am.
She lost interest in the show.
I know.
Maybe I am.
She's already checked out.
It's Voyager. Voyager 1.
V'ger.
Feature.
V'ger. Well, I'm going to get to the whole V'ger controversy in just a moment.
What?
Has it really left?
Yes.
What did it leave, disembodied voice of
The
Hal?
heliopause.
The heliosphere. The Oort cloud.
Did it not leave the
It left the solar
influence?
system, did it not?
Yes.
I was going to actually say what it entered. It entered interstellar space.
Deep space.
Well, Hal, that's where we have to get into some technicalities. Not exactly.
No.
I'm sorry. No, it did not leave the solar system. It entered interstellar space. It left the influence of our sun, but it did not leave the solar system. And I believe the next illustration will clearly illustrate this
Clearly it will.
using logarithms. Here. Oh, no, actually. Even more clearly than I imagined. I'm going to let you know how many times so far NASA has announced Voyager 1 leaving the
That's
solar system.
Photoshop.
Well, actually,
That's paint.
they've never said it left the solar system. But this is if you're keeping track here, I'll tell you how many times. Here's what they say. They say it has left the solar system in the popular media so far. It's left the heliopause, the termination shock 3 times, the heliopause twice. and gone once through the heliosheath, the heliosphere, heliodrome, the auroral discontinuity, heavy side layer, the trans-Newtonian.
At what point does it become sentient? That's all anyone wants to know.
I'm getting to that. The trans-Newtonian panic zone, the magneto gap, the U.S. Census Bureau solar system statistical boundary, the Kuiper gauntlet, the Oort buoy, the crystal sphere holding the fixed stars in place, as you saw on that tapestry in the 1500s. No, that's not what happened. It did not leave the solar system. And the next illustration will so nicely illustrate this. Where is it in relation to the end of the solar system? Here we have the sun off screen at 1 astronomical unit Earth, at 10 astronomical units Saturn, at about 120 astronomical units the heliopause, where Voyager 1 is. Now, the Oort cloud, still our solar system.
I'm sorry, the Oort cloud?
Oort, see? Oh, Oort.
Is that like the Swedish chef name that?
It was a man named Oort. And I believe, yes, he was in fact from one of our fine Scandinavian friends we haven't attacked yet. And all through here are chunks of ice and rock left over from the very earliest formation of the solar system. But they're too far away to do much but sort of hazily orbit down here.
It's raw material. It's still out there.
Occasionally one of these comes flying into the sun and we call it a comet. Anyway, look how many astronomical units they are. They're from 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 astronomical units.
Whoa.
So, when will Voyager 1 leave the solar system?
Never.
Another couple of thousand years, everyone. Sorry. Hang on. Stay tuned. It'll be there. But what is on Voyager 1? Do you remember the most interesting thing they put in popular culture?
The golden record with
Let's
Chuck
take a
Berry.
look at that golden record there, Sherilyn, please.
Carl Sagan.
Oh, look at that. That's not it.
Oh, that's golden.
That's
That's
bigger.
Voyager.
That's it.
Oh no! If we could only back up and let me do the show, I will show you what. It's the golden record.
What?
The golden record, and here you see, actually that's a stylus, and they drew a picture, they went, find something that looks like this, and put it on it, go in circles, and you're gonna find, and this is how you read it.
Yeah,
Here's
you
where it's
stupid
from.
aliens. This is how you play a record.
Yeah, well, look, my laptop doesn't even have a DVD drive anymore. What the hell am I gonna do with it, you know?
Cut the chatter and spin the platter.
That's right. Here we go. And let's see, what did they do with this? Take a look at the next picture there quickly. And they took this beautiful gold and they stuck it on the side of Voyager 1 there.
That's not
I would have put it
gonna work. Where's
inside
the album
myself,
cover?
but they wanted to make sure it's the first thing the alien sees. Hey, look, there's a gold record. Hey, just throw away the rest of it. Let's get that thing. You know, because
I wonder if it's Milli Vanilli's gold record.
Oh.
You
It
know
shows
what's on
them
the
how to
gold
get
record?
here.
You probably know what's on the gold record. Everybody knows. It's got people from Earth saying hello in 55 languages, of which about 4 of those were done by a friend of mine when I was at school at Cornell, Sol Mabula from Zambia. As you know, Carl Sagan made this. He was at Cornell too. And he didn't go to 55 countries to get people to say hello. He went to all the graduate students from the foreign countries and said, with a microphone, said, will you say hello? So my friend Sol Mabula did about 4 of the dialects of Africa there. On there saying hello in Zambian and in South Zambian and in Lower East Zambian. And he's on there. But it also has some music. It has Beethoven. It has Chuck Berry. Yes, right?
Is Dr. Hal on there?
No, Dr. Hal's not on there.
Oh.
But I will tell you one other thing that is on there, which Vega, what did Vega get all upset about? Well, whale songs, right? Yes, it has whale songs on it. And the whale songs, in the next image we'll show you, the whale songs were from the humpback whale. They were placed on there. You can actually go get the same whale songs that they put on there, which were recorded by my Uncle Frank. And my Uncle Frank's whale songs have now left the heliopause, and in a few thousand years we'll leave the solar system. Thank you, Frank Wellington, a mentor of mine, a great scientist, and also the recorder of all the things, and the man who made Roger Payne famous for taking all the whale songs and saying, hey, there's a song there.
Is he from Bucks County?
No, he was Bermudian. He was born in Bermuda.
Don't bait him with Bucks County bullshit.
Worked his whole life in Bermuda, died in Bermuda, buried in Bermuda.
Loves Doylestown.
They had to chisel through the coral rock to make a tune for him. And there he is. And he was a good guy there. And, oh yeah, something else important that's happening today in space. I'd like to get you to go to the next picture. There's a man called John Dobson. I don't know if anyone has ever been to see sidewalk astronomy happening here in San Francisco, gone to 9th and Irving and other places around town and seen telescopes set up for anyone walking by as the amateur astronomers desperately try to pull the hipsters over and say, look at the moon, look at Saturn, look at this, and they just look at their iPhones and walk by. Sidewalk astronomy began in this town by this man, John Dobson. He began making amateur telescopes, and what he was doing here is how he began making them. He was using porthole glass from abandoned World War II Navy vessels, and he would grind those by hand. They're still ground by hand. He taught many classes on how to do them. And here he is doing that. I think in the next picture you're going to see, yes, this is actually an amateur-made telescope. And this is something he invented that revolutionized amateur astronomy. It's called the Dobsonian telescope. And what it is basically one of the most expensive things about a telescope is how to mount it and turn it and aim it easily. And he made a very simple rocker box and curved surface. And on this very large one, you can see it, this is about a 20-inch or larger scope there. But he made telescopes cheap, accessible, easy to use. Basically, they're low power, and they do not magnify a lot, but they collect a lot of light, so you can see an awful lot in it.
And yet, still, no one is interested.
Well,
Well, it's low power.
no one was interested in sidewalk astronomers, and it was also foggy a lot here.
Well, that's
If we have one more image, let's see if we have that. This image was taken tonight by my friends in Southern California. It is John Dobson's 98th birthday today. That's it. And there he is, and he's still mean, irascible, and annoying as ever, except he's getting a little deaf. Other than that, he's in great shape, and we should all tribute John Dobson. And go buy a Dobsonian telescope someday. It's a great thing to have. And for those of you who missed it, before we did the Ask Dr. Hal show tonight, they had a show here called Godzilla. It was a fantastic show. It's on for the rest of the month, I believe, Fridays and Saturdays. You should come see it and see San Francisco destroyed the way it should be destroyed.
Yeah.
Completely crushed by a giant radioactive green lizard.
as opposed to chain stores moving into the Mission.
Well, no, I actually have a proposal.
Sorry, cheap shot.
I know. There's other ways to destroy San Francisco that are slower and less radioactive. I would like to propose a play to Jim Forniana's owner of Darkroom at some opportunity. In the next picture, I'm going to show you an original play that has been created by my daughter that is called, ready for it, The Talking Volcano. And it involves a dragon and a monster that live in the talking volcano.
Appearing in the Darkroom soon. Ladies and gentlemen, Pete Goldie. Pete Goldie, also known as Karen Carpenter on the Nose Hair Lincoln radio program every Wednesday at 10 o'clock. You can find him there.